Halstead Telephone Company and R&J Broadcasting Incorporated is proud to present to you this broadcast on yourliveevent.com.
Welcome in to the yourliveevent.com Robotics Show, coming at you every week, of course, on Saturdays at 10 a.m., but special edition this week, so we're coming at you from Grand Forks, North Dakota, where we have day 2 of 3 of the 2023 First Robotics Great Northern Regional Event. I'm Mac Robinson, and we're keeping you up to date with everything going on here at the Great Northern Regional Event here today, as well as we go through all of the matches here, of course, talk with some of the participants, take you through the action here throughout the day as well. We'll be talking with plenty of the participants, as well as keeping you up to date throughout this show. Also, of course, we are powered by Enbridge, and of course, we will keep you up to date with the new game here this year as we get charged up this year and go through and talk about it with some of the participants. So, got tons of people to talk to. Let's go ahead and get into it. And we are joined now by the Mechatronics here of Alexandria, Team 3313. And guys, so far in this event, what have you guys really seen from your robot, and what have been some of the main takeaways that you guys have had so far?
So we have seen our robot has the capability to do really well in this competition, and yet we are still trying to work out some of the bugs, so we feel like we're going to do very well, just not yet. Okay.
Pretty much the same thing. We have a few kinks in the robot that we need to work out, but after that, we should be able to do a lot of the stuff that we need to do to have a pretty good robot. Yeah.
And the other side of it too is that you obviously have a ton of robots that are here, a ton of spreading across a lot of locations as well. But for you guys pick up any design tricks and pick out any robot in particular and maybe think, what, maybe I can implement that into our own.
So yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of great robot designs here. Some of the main ones that we have implemented in our design this year and seen a lot of other people do is just the robustness of the design. Since you have to have such a long manipulator, you want to make sure that it's really sturdily built. And those are the best robots, the ones that can really make sure that they're not waving around in the air.
I agree with that, but I also think that another great thing that I've seen with some robots is the way that they move, being able to move around the field easier. I don't know what we can do to change our robot to make it better, but I definitely think that the more you're able to move around, especially with the charging station, it takes up a lot of the room that you have while you're trying to put the cones and the blocks onto the scoring area. It's nice to have a more compact robot.
Well, and with that being said, too, obviously last year's game, it felt like it was a little bit more straightforward when it came to the scoring system. This year, it feels like there's many different ways that you can really attack the scoring when it comes to this year, especially. Has there been one area that you guys have tried to focus in, or has it been more balanced for you guys?
So, to be honest, we really are just trying to get cones on there because cones are our specialty. We stay away from the cubes because our grabber can't grab them as well. And we're trying to work with our alliance partners to form links because you get enough links and you get the ranking point, and that's a really big deal.
Yeah, I also agree with that. And we haven't tried to yet, but we're hoping that at some point we can get the charging station if we can get our surf drive to work.
And then, one thing especially for an event like this, obviously, like I mentioned, so many different teams that are able to come up here especially, and also an opportunity for you guys to network a little bit, talk to these different teams. Do you think that gives you guys an advantage as the season goes along there as well?
Yeah, I would say that because we can use what we've learned from other teams, and we can try to use it to fix an issue that we have with our robot that we want to have, that we have been having problems with that we can't really think of a solution for. We might we might think about that other robot and we're like, oh wait, we can do something sort of similar to this, and then we can use that to make our robot better. And hopefully we hope that other teams can also do the same with our robot.
Yeah, so I mean, as you were saying, like in the spirit of gracious professionalism and cooperation, we have had some teams try to help us work out our problems with the robot, and that has been such a huge thing for us. We are really grateful for that, and because of that, we were able to get out in the field today, and just in that spirit, we love working with other teams.
And with that being said, too, you know, a big event like this especially, what's some of your guys' favorite parts about, you know, a large regional event like this here especially, too?
Being able to, I like the fact that I get to see all the cool robots compete, and we can like really field test our robot really well to see exactly what sort of strategy we want to go with in the long run.
Yeah, so my favorite part is no matter how many times you can do it at your shop, how many times you can test it, you never get the hype and the energy of these events. I mean, that is just, you can feel it all around, and that is so great.
Yeah, I can feel it walking in here, and I can feel it from you guys, talking with you guys. Thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And welcome back as we have Team Prodigy 3277 with me here. And what's your guys' names?
Briley.
Brianna, perfect. Glad to see you guys again. Got a chance to talk with you guys back in Alexandria. You know, now as we have the different game coming in here especially, you know, what have you seen so far here today, so far in your matches so far?
It's been for us anyways, it's been really good. We've been doing good. I wish our autonomous would have gotten it last time. We ran it once and it just undershot it, just a microsecond. It was really close. We did have a crack in one of our claw, and we got that replaced because we had a nice break. I'd rather talk about other teams a little bit.
Yeah, it's been pretty good collaborating with other teams as well, because we're able to do some stuff that a lot of teams aren't able to, because we have the true tank, we've been calling it. It's tank with track, so we've been able to get over the charge station a lot easier than most teams. So we're able to go down the middle, get cubes from the middle, and put it into the middle node. I think that's a cooperation node.
Yeah, there you go. Well, and the other side of it too that, you know, really fascinated me compared to last year's game especially is that you can score in so many different ways, especially. Is that something that you guys have tried to, you know, focus on any one in particular, or, you know, trying to have a good balance of all the different ways that you can kind of attack it?
We're not a swerve drive robot, so we're a bit slower than some of them. So we've been kind of working on just, you know, getting those bounce. That's really important because we do really good on that. And then trying to get as many links as we can. That's our main goal, really.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of cubes for actually having our human player drop them, because we can only pick it up if it's straight up or facing us. For cones, yeah. So we've been putting cones in the middle as much as possible so we can go pick those up, and cubes for past those being done.
And then, you know, having this kind of a big event as well, being able to, you know, see all these different teams be around all this type of an event especially, you know, how does it feel for you guys especially now as it's really the start of the season here, especially you too?
We've been cooperating with like Cass Lake teams. They're, you know, in our conference and they're close to us. We've also been talking with Chaotic. Like, we were looking for a Rivet Gunner there, and we asked those two teams first because we've been kind of collaborating closer. But it's really cool seeing all the different types of robots. Like, I know looking around our drivetrains, we're the only one with tank. Looking at claw ideas, there were some robots that had our old claw idea, and, you know, it just wasn't working as well. It's kind of working just like how ours was. So it's cool kind of seeing that they're having the same issue as us as we were earlier.
Yeah, we've seen some with pneumatic claw designs as well, which is really interesting.
And then does that give you guys ideas then going forward to kind of workshop and try to work through there as well?
Yeah, I mean, really, you know, this is a competition, but it's also really good troubleshooting because we're going to Iowa in like 2 weeks, I think. So, you know, fine-tuning, seeing what we can improve on, really.
All right, well, hey, best of luck to you guys for the rest of the day. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Joining me now from the Husky Howlers, we have Xander joining me. Daniel?
Yeah.
Daniel. Okay, I'm sorry. My hearing's terrible. Yeah, all right. Sweet. All right, let me restart. 3, 2, 1. Join me now from the Husky Howlers. We have Daniel. And Daniel, you know, what kind of role do you have with the Howlers? I know there's so many different roles that you have in robotics as well.
So right here at the competition, I am currently the media, drive team media person because I have a camera and I'm using it. So
Okay.
it works that way, I guess. But as far as on the team, I am generally accepted as both the team captain and then also the design team lead. That is what I do. So I design the robot and make sure the other people actually build it.
Well, and with you being on the design team, I think this is a perfect person to be talking to when it comes to this, but being able to have so many different robots, obviously, from all across, and the different thought processes behind the builds, do you take any design notes or anything like that to potentially implement there into your own robot there as well?
Oh, every year. I mean, there isn't much we can do on our robot here massively changing it other than just making small tweaks, but every year I've been here or at a competition at all, I've been taking many notes in every robot, and many of them have made it into the design. Less so specific things, more so than design concepts and principles that a lot of teams have taken, especially in the way they build and where they emphasis on strength and where they emphasis on efficiency. It's been a massive help in actually making sure our robot is efficient and strong as well.
Okay, and with that being said too, you know, I feel like last year the game was pretty straightforward. Obviously, you knew how you were getting points, and obviously you would climb up at the end. But this year it feels like there's more strategy involved. There's more ways to score, especially too. You know, is that implemented, or has that been affecting your strategy when it comes to this year, or were you guys focused on one area, or has it been more of a balanced approach?
Yes, actually, we've been focusing a lot on being very versatile. That was what our robot went. Since we realized right away that this is a very different style of game that has been to any of the other matches we've been, or games we've been to, where it's so many different ways that are very viable to score, we went for versatility so that we can fill in the gaps that other specialized teams have. So say a team's really good at cones, we can do cubes, or vice versa. Okay. We're also able to pick up off the floor and off any of the not docking stations, but the areas where we pick up cones and cubes. So that has been a big part of it, because us being versatile means we can be useful to, in a team structure no matter what that team structure is.
And with that being said too, you know, obviously there's so many different teams that come out to an event like this, obviously being, you know, from across North Dakota, obviously here in Minnesota as well, and all over, but you know, for you guys, being able to kind of network a little bit too and be able to talk with some of those different teams, do you think that also gives you guys a bit of an advantage when you come out to an event like this?
It is definitely an advantage talking to teams. If you know what they need and they know what you need, you're able to coordinate that. When we were rookies, like 4 years ago or whatever it was, obviously we weren't really good at anything, we didn't know anything, but learning to communicate with all the other teams has been a massive help in making us better as well, because it means that we're able to fill in the gaps, like we said, why our robot's so versatile, fill in the gaps that the other teams have so that we can all work effectively to score and win a match.
All right, well, that's awesome. Daniel, thank you so much for joining me. Last question for you. Can we expect to see the mascot out here again? I know you saw it in Alexandria. Can we expect to see the mascot out here today?
He has been walking around. He's been making the rounds.
Okay.
You can see him somewhere.
I'll keep an eye out. Daniel, thanks for joining me, man.
Thank you for having me.
The PRB Boosters are happy to sponsor coverage of the Tigers. Like them on Facebook for events and fundraisers. The PRB Boosters could use your help. Be part of great events and fundraisers, all built to give back and present more opportunities for the students of Pine River Backus schools. For information or to get started, email prboosterclub1.com. Meetings are the first Monday of every month at 6 p.m. at the school. Good luck, Tigers, from the PRB Boosters. Restock on food, fuel, and baits at locally owned Station 371 on Highway 371 in Pine River. Station 371 has bait and tackle, quality Cenex gasoline, off-road diesel, and is the only stop with #1 diesel. Make sure to stop by to wash off the sand and salt with their indoor car wash, open when the temp is at least 26 degrees. They'll hook you up with your fishing and hunting licenses too. Station 371 on Highway 371 in Pine River. Thank you for supporting local business.
Mac Robinson here with the Accelerators, 3-1, 3-4. And for both of you guys coming into an event like this, one, what have you guys seen from your robot so far here today?
So we have been like progressively getting more cycle times as we get more drivers practice, and seeing how much like congestion is on the field and trying to get that communication with our team so we can be successful.
Yeah, it's just mainly getting all of those things and being able to get all those different cycles. I'd say like each match we've been getting faster and faster, and so that's a lot nicer as well.
And, you know, the one thing, too, that, you know, I've been talking with teams about, you know, throughout the day, but there's so many different teams that are here that there's so many different designs that you can also potentially take from. Is that something you guys have been taking note of to maybe implement into your own?
It's really cool to look around and see everybody's robots and kind of take some notes, maybe like, oh, that works pretty good. Maybe we adapt that a little bit, try to see what could do to our robot. I don't know.
Yeah, it's cool to see all the different designs, and I say ours is pretty good. So yeah.
And, you know, the one side of it, too, especially, is that when you get an event like this, obviously there's so many different teams from so many different locations that, you know, it's an opportunity to network a little bit, too, and really get a chance to talk with these different teams. Is that something you guys have really been trying to focus on, especially today, too?
Yeah, so our scouting, we scout with like 2-3 other teams, and since we're going to Idaho for our second regional, the Missoula team from Montana, we actually made friends with them, and so when we go over there, they're going to help us out just like how we're helping them a little bit when we're here.
Okay. Yeah, and then like also like communicating with our alliances for like matches has really been a good success as well, to make sure like everyone knows what they're doing, it's not chaos.
Well, and with that being said, too, you know, this year, you know, it feels like the scoring system, there's so many different, a variety of ways that you guys can score. Last year, it felt pretty straightforward. This year, there's so many different ways. Have you guys been trying to specialize in one area, or have you guys been trying to have more of a balanced attack with it?
We're just kind of trying to get as many on like the mid one, because that's like the fastest we're at, and it's just easier, so we're just trying to get as many as we can as possible.
Creating those links and trying to get as many points on that balance so we get those ranking points. Even if we're like a match, like looking at our scouting data, our match kind of looks like against us, we still try to go for those ranking points just to like get the other team's spirits up and like get ours, and so it's like still fun.
And, you know, last time I saw you guys were over in Alexandria especially, and it felt like that was it felt more like an experience more than an event. And that was on a smaller scale. Gets to a bigger scale like this one here today. How are you guys feeling coming into this? And, you know, what's an experience like this like for you guys especially?
So going in, like, it's always like exciting, like going back to your first regional, it's been a year, like getting that whole robotics like spirit back, it's like it's so like rewarding. It's like it just feels good.
Yeah, and then also like seeing teams like progress, like they wouldn't, maybe last year they weren't so good, now this year they're like really good. So it's like fun to see like them getting to like get into robotics a lot more and like getting to actually be better. It's nice too.
Yeah, and you guys have been doing a great job here today. Looking forward to seeing what you guys do the rest of the weekend. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Mac Robinson here, joined by Seth from 2654. And Seth, so far, what have you seen today when it comes to this type of event from your robot especially?
I've seen that like there's challenges with everything, and you just gotta work through them and see. Like sometimes you struggle, but you just gotta keep working on it and getting better. So.
Well, in this type of event especially, you know, you have so many different robots, so many different designs and approaches to those robots too. Does that give you guys any ideas or anything like that you guys can try to work through with your robot especially too?
So like when you see other robots, it's like, oh, that's a cool idea, maybe this will work. Like, yeah, it does give you some ideas. Not like the exact design, but it gives you ideas on what you could do to upgrade yours.
And the other side of it too, you know, this is such a massive event, so many different teams that are here especially. You know, how does it feel to take in this kind of, it feels like it's underselling it to call it an event, more like an experience at this point.
Yeah, it is. So like everyone's so busy and working on things, you just get caught up, and after you're like, man, we did a lot this weekend. There was a lot going on. And
And then the other side of it too, you know, compared to last year's game, this year's game, it feels like there's so many different opportunities and ways that you can score. You know, for you, what has been something that you guys have tried to focus on, or is it more of a balanced attack for the Polar Rams this year?
It's been balanced. We try to get cone and cubes up, but then we also like to get on the charging station at the end. So.
All right, well, hey, thanks for the time, Seth. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Mac Robinson here with the Bot Kickers, and guys, I'm going to restart that. What's your guys' names again? Sebastian. Sebastian? Your guys' name?
Z.
Z? Awesome. Sweet. All right. 3, 2, 1. Mac Robinson here with Sebastian and Z from the Bot Kickers. And, you know, guys, in this kind of an event, you know, it's always interesting to see the different perspectives and the different robots especially. You know, how have you guys felt that your robots performed? And, you know, the other side of it, too, is have you guys taken any notes from any of the other robots, maybe try to implement that into your own design there as well?
So, yeah, we came into this event knowing we could not compete with Swerve Drive, which a lot of teams have. So we changed our whole strategy from 0 week. We went to a low-scoring team and just bringing pieces over to the rest of our Alliance members. But later on, I'm hoping we can get Swerve Drive working and we can be a real competitor out there.
Yeah. So we took a lot of pieces from other teams and kind of sort of incorporated them into our design, while at the same time other teams took some of our stuff and incorporated it. It's all a big team effort here.
And then the one thing that I found interesting about this year's game compared to last year's is the different ways that you can score. And instead of just a very one-track mind where you're going to score last year and then you go ahead and climb, this year there's different ways that you can approach it. You know, in your team's eyes, is that something that you guys have tried to focus on in any one area, or has it really been trying to make a balanced approach there especially?
So we've been trying to make a balanced approach, but we found that with testing and everything, we found cubes work the greatest, just because of how big they are, how easy they are to grab.
Okay. Yeah. We definitely try to get lots of other opportunities to get better scoring there.
And then obviously for this big an event here especially, you know, early on, you know, how do you guys feel coming into this type of environment, being able to, you know, not only, you know, take different ideas or anything like that, but the other side of it is also just getting a chance to talk and, you know, really just network with a lot of the people that have the same interest for you guys?
Yeah, it's been great. I came in super nervous, like any other event would, but as time went on, I got more comfortable. People are great. All the students are amazing here. They're willing to help and drop a dime. It's great.
A lot of us will come in with a lot of hype and energy while still nervous. We got a duck on a headband and a Mountain Dew hat. We all got all this fun energy, and it's just a lot. It's so much better when all the other teams match that energy too.
All right, Sebastian, Z, thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
This year, Schrupp Excavating is celebrating 40 years of digging it right. With this milestone year, Schrupp Excavating wants to thank all of their past, current, and future employees and customers. They appreciate all you've done to help Schrupp Excavating become one of the most trusted companies in the Lakes area. For any excavation project, Schrupp Excavating will have your project done right and on time, serving Pine River, Bacchus, Pequot Lakes, and all the surrounding communities. Schrupp Excavating LLC, online at schruppexcavating.com.
Pequot Manufacturing, a thriving precision manufacturing plant, is 41 years strong and proud to support our local robotics teams. Our focus and success is based on the latest automation and robotic technologies for machining and fabricating components, serving a wide range of industries nationally. Pequot Manufacturing invests in career development through education and progression, creating challenging and rewarding careers for committed and motivated CNC machinists, fabricators, and engineers. Find out more at pequottool.com. Pequot Manufacturing. We don't just meet expectations, we exceed them.
Joining me now, we got the Otterbots 3293, and you guys just got done with your match here, one of the qualifying matches. What have you guys seen so far from your robot here today, especially?
We've been doing really well, actually. We're happy with our autonomous, and we think we've been doing not too bad on cycling. We have been having some brownout problems, but we're getting it flattened out, smoothed out. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, I think the testing of our batteries and just getting it all worked out is really coming through, and our robot is coming in strong towards the end.
And, you know, the one thing, too, is that there's so many different teams that are around here, obviously. Obviously a regional event, but, you know, for you guys, it gives you guys a chance to, you know, network a little bit, talk with some of these different teams. Has that been a huge advantage for you guys so far? Have you guys been trying to seek that out especially?
Yeah. This year has been a huge strategy year. There's been a lot of talking. Like, I remember, Matt, last year there wasn't, you know, all you had to do was talk about climbing, and this year it's like there's so many more things to talk about, and it's really helpful to have everybody just in one space because there's just so many people, and you can go up to people and talk to them about strategy.
Yeah, I think the connections of talking to the other teams is really big, and I think we've done a good job of connecting.
And the other side of it, too, and you mentioned it, you know, the strategy aspect this year. You know, last year, pretty straightforward where you had the shooting and then you obviously had climbing. But for this year, you have so many different ways that you can score. Is there any way that you guys have been more specializing in that way, or has it been more of a balanced approach when it came to this year?
Yeah, I guess we noticed we were looking at past regionals just from last week, and the teams who focused on links almost always won, and they were always super superior. So we've been trying to focus on making links. I think everybody's kind of caught on by now that it's week 2. But yeah, that's kind of a big part of strategy.
Yeah, I think our links are just our big strong point that we're trying to emphasize.
And then one other side of it, too, with so many different teams here, obviously there's always a lot of creativity when it comes to robotics. So for you guys, have you guys been trying to take a look at different designs that some people have made and, you know, maybe think about maybe implementing it into your own design this year as well?
Yeah, there's a lot of really interesting ways that people are picking things up. I didn't think there was so many ways to pick a lot of things up. I thought there were going to be a lot more claws. There's not a lot of claws. But yeah, looking forwards into the future, we're hoping to, you know, make it onto some better regionals. And it'd be good to see these strategies if we want to implement them into our robot.
What have some of the interesting designs been that you've seen so far today?
I know I've seen a lot of the, like, where it rolls and holds it with wheels and different rollers, which I did not expect to see as many of those.
And then for both of you guys here today as well, you know, obviously one of the first big events of the year, obviously regional, but for you guys, having that kind of energy, being able to come back into this as well, what's some of your favorite aspects of this type of an event?
I like the buttons, and I also like the fact that there's so many people in the stands. Like, nobody would think that a robotics competition is just, like, hyped up, because nobody thinks, oh, it's just nerdy programmers, but it's not. It's actually a lot more.
Yeah, I think even though it's a competition, I really like the sense of, like, community that's here, and yeah, that we've come together almost as a group.
And those are the Otterbots joining me here today. Guys, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And now joined by Team Fred, joining me is Logan. And Logan, thank you for joining me. But yeah, and so for an event like this especially, what have you guys noticed from your robot so far here today?
We've had a few complications, but we recovered it pretty quickly. We just take it back to the pit and fix it as soon as possible. So yeah, we've had some complications with the programming and just the arms, but we fix it right away and get back into the game.
And then, you know, this year especially, it feels like there's so many different avenues that you guys can go down when it comes to scoring. You know, last year it felt pretty straightforward, but this year, you know, obviously with the multitude of ways that you can score, have you guys been trying to specialize in any one aspect, or has it been more of a balanced attack for you guys?
We just talk to other teams and strategize and do what they can. Mostly we'll take cones and put them on the highest levels, so that's what we mostly go for. It really depends on who we're aligned with. And
with that being said, too, you know, a large event like this as well, you know, a lot of different creative paths that you can go down when it comes to the robot, or when it comes to the build for the robots. But have you guys been really picking up on any other designs that you guys might think, yeah, you know what, maybe we can implement that and do our own design?
Not too much. I mean, we started out looking at like quite a few different designs. It took us a long time to get to the design we've had now. We've had lots of iterations. I think we're pretty satisfied with our design though, and it works well. So we just got to get quicker, faster.
Right, and then the other aspect of this as well is that, you know, so many different teams from so many different places. Do you guys try to network as well and try to talk with these different teams as well to kind of get a feel for once Alliance selection comes up?
Yeah, we have a lot of scouts going around and talking to teams, and our safety captain goes around, and we're open to talking to other teams as well. So yeah, we like to connect with other teams and talk to them and share information and just strategies and whatnot.
I noticed the robot mascot as well. Do you send him out there as well to go ahead and try to talk to the other teams too?
He's pretty quiet. He just goes around, sends out buttons, but yeah.
And then the other aspect of this as well is that obviously first regional of the year as well. You know, for you guys especially, you know, getting a chance to see these different teams and everything. What's your favorite part about these kinds of events in the larger scale of it?
I actually really enjoy like talking to different people and meeting new people. Just like having conversations and talking about both of our teams, and yeah, I like seeing all the different people and like the spirit of all the teams. It's really fun.
And that is Logan from Team Fred. Logan, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate the conversation.
Yeah, have a good day.
Thanks, you too. And joining me now, we have 876 Thunder Robotics. We got Freya, we got Ethan. And for both of you guys, you know, what have you seen so far today from your robot now, you know, first regional event here today?
Well, I'm having a hard time thinking right now.
No, you're good. You're good.
Well, we've had a lot of great things happen. Yesterday we won all of our practice matches, which was really good. We had an off match, our last match, but we are analyzing what we did in that match and just trying to figure out what not to do in the next match.
No, you're good. You're good. I got you. And, you know, the other side of it, too, is that, you know, for me, I didn't know that this was going on when I was in high school, and I'm still mad about it. I found out that my high school had a team. Still mad that nobody told me. Nobody told me. So for you guys, what got you into robotics? And, you know, when it comes to robotics as a whole, what are some of your favorite aspects of it?
Our head mentor, Mike Vogelweed, he's a science teacher, and so he really pushed it at our school and got a lot of people in.
I've always kind of been a part of FIRST. My dad was a part of the rookie team of 876, so I've just kind of had it there my entire life. And my grandma has been a really big influence for it. And my dad has been, can't wait till I get up to that age, and I just couldn't wait.
Well, and with you being around it, you know, all your life pretty much as well, you know, how have things changed for you from growing up with it to now being a part of it at one of these regional events?
From the earliest, like, I remember being at regionals, I just remember watching it and thinking, this is so cool, and now I'm actually in it and actually able to see what goes into it, and it's just so much more of an experience for me.
Right, and then, you know, for both of you guys, you know, what roles do you have in the teams this year? Because it's always interesting to me that there's always so many different facets that you can find your way into, and so many different like roles that you can find your way in. So, what are you guys doing at this point when it comes to roles with the team, and you know, how have you kind of found your way to that?
Well, I'm a builder and a driver, so I help build the robot that I drive, and it just works hand in hand.
Okay, perfect.
I kind of help with the build. I do a lot with the electrical, and I help with the programming side of it. So, a lot of our drive team this year also are seniors. Well, actually, all of them are, and I'm in our succession line. I am our next technician. So.
That's awesome, guys. That's awesome. And one other side of this, too, is that with a massive event like this, you know, you get so many different teams from so many different locations, especially. You know, have you guys been trying to talk with other teams, try to, you know, maybe network a little bit, get a little bit of a better relationship with some of these teams?
Well, that's what FIRST is all about, just networking, talking to people, figuring out, you know, what their interests are and all that.
And that's another thing, too, is when you step in the doors to any sort of competition, small or large like Worlds, you step in that door and yeah, the competition might be going on, but you step in and you're one big family. It doesn't matter where you're from.
And the other side of that too is that, you know, obviously with every year, every game, there's a lot of creativity that goes into it. This year, there's so many different facets to it. But everybody has different designs, and everybody has different ways that they go about getting their points up this year. Have you guys seen any interesting designs from other teams, and maybe taken notes of some things that you might want to implement possibly with your robot?
Well, don't know really what you call them, but it's like multi-stage, like almost like a ladder, they got going out. Like those are pretty neat. And you've got like articulating claws, and it's just a lot of real neat stuff that you don't think of when you're building the robot yourself.
Right.
And then when you see that and you're like, oh, why didn't I think of that? Why didn't we think of that?
Yeah.
So it's just, competition is kind of where you get to see all the different types and points of view that people have at this game and how to beat it.
And with that being said, too, last year's game, it felt a little straightforward with the scoring method, but this year there's so many different facets to how you can put points up there. Have you guys been trying to go with a balanced approach, or have you guys been trying to specialize in anything?
Yeah, we've been getting everything, cones, cubes, balancing. We've been doing it all levels, and it's really the only way to like really harness the game, just do everything.
Well, and that's another thing too, is when you do everything, you're more valuable to teams. So when it comes to playoffs, and let's say you just you weren't matched up, you know, the cards just weren't played for you, you are more valuable to those teams who are picking.
All right, Ethan, Freya, thank you so much for the time. Thunder Robotics 876, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's get real. Get ready for a place that's big enough to grow and small enough to care. The University of Minnesota Crookston offers more than 35 majors, minors, and certificates. Earn a University of Minnesota degree, where you can make a difference in a close-knit community. Faculty become friends, and friends feel like family. You don't need a big city, just big dreams. The University of Minnesota Crookston. Real, hands-on, and will get you ready for anything.
My name is Jared, born and raised in Minnesota, and I'm a project director at Enbridge. Enbridge is more than a pipeline company. It's a company participating in renewable energy projects in Minnesota and abroad, and I'm really proud to be working here.
We believe a cleaner energy future is achievable. For over 20 years, we've been early adopters of renewable energy, and we're proudly committed to net zero emissions by 2050. To hear more from Jared, visit enbridge.com/Jared. That's JERRID.
And welcome back. We're here with the Androids 3058. We got Landon and Marissa joining me. And, you know, guys, when it comes to so far today, what's really stood out to you, especially about the game here in the first regional event that we've seen this year?
Something that I'm really looking at, and I'm surprised when it happens, is the three robot balance. It's pretty impressive. We've tried it a couple times and only got it once, and it's one of the most impressive things I've seen here today.
I just find it impressive how so many robots can score so many points all by themselves.
Well, and with that being said, too, you know, it felt like last year's game was pretty straightforward with how you go about scoring. This year, like you mentioned, so many ways that you can go about scoring especially. Have you guys been trying to be a little bit more balanced with the approach, or has it been more specializing?
Yeah, it's definitely been a strategic challenge, you know, with all the different options. But we have been trying to stick to one kind of area and find teams that are able to mix with those, and then we can be successful in all areas.
Yeah, I just think strategy is a huge part this year, and you need to have a good plan in order to do pretty well.
Well, and with that being said, you know, there's a lot of different teams that are from all across the region especially. Do you think that allows you guys to go ahead and network a little bit more and be able to chat with a lot of these different teams to figure out, hey, who might work well in alliance in that case?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's definitely cool to see all the teams you would never normally work with. And it's fun to work with those teams, especially if they're good teams.
You meet a lot of new people, you make new friends. I just really like interacting with everyone.
And I feel like that's one of the best parts about, you know, large events like these especially. I almost don't want to call it an event. It feels more like an experience more than anything. But, you know, for you guys, what are some of your favorite parts about, you know, events like the regionals here today?
I'm on the drive team, so we get to go and strategize with other teams. And just being able to talk to every team and make connections with them, that's the best part.
Yeah, I would say the same. I just really like talking to everyone.
And, you know, what got you guys into robotics? 'Cause I'm still mad that my high school, nobody told me about it, and I feel like I got left out of this, man.
So I saw some recruitment posters at my school, and I was like, I have nothing better to do, let's try it, and now I'm here.
I saw it in the announcements, and my dad was the coach of the robotics team, and he had been teaching the high schoolers it, so then I was like, oh, that sounds fun. So he expanded it to the middle school, and yeah.
Well, that's awesome, guys. And, you know, one other aspect, too, that I've been asking other teams today, but I'm curious for you guys as well. You know, obviously, there's a lot of creativity that goes into robotics, and, you know, with so many different teams, there's different approaches as well. Have you guys seen any interesting mechanics when it comes to the way that some of these robots have been built, and, you know, maybe some that left an impression on you that you might want to go ahead and think, you know what, maybe we can add that or implement that into your own design?
Yeah, there's definitely some cool things that you would never think of doing. There's a team that's pit right next to theirs. I don't remember their number, but their arm is a cool like S curve, and it's offset because of their arm is set like that, and it was hand built, and it's probably one of the most impressive things I've seen.
I feel like you can take like little things from every team, just because they're all so different. So, yeah.
All right. Well, that is the androids. We appreciate you guys for joining us. 3058, of course. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are joined now by a Warrior Robotics, of course, 7858, and you know, for both of you guys, Caleb, Griffin, you know, what are some of the interesting aspects of the game that you guys have been able to see here today? Obviously, first regional event of the season.
I think that the amount of cooperation between the alliances is interesting. It's it's very important for really gaining those ranking points that you need to further yourself. And I think that the aspect of putting the cones and cubes onto something instead of shooting, like in years prior, is fun as well.
Yeah, I think it's a very different game this year. It's like a lot of just focusing on driving skill more than the robot programming, and it's a lot of, you know, it's all just a skill thing. And you know, as drivers go on and drivers, you know, progress, you can see how our teams are getting better and how competition score is getting higher, and I think it's a really different game also, you know, just with the fact that all the shapes are different, and, you know, they just went completely nuts with this year, so I think it's really fun, but, yeah.
Well, and with that being said, too, it feels like this year there's so many different aspects to scoring this year compared to last year where it seemed more straightforward. You know, with having more of a strategic aspect of it, how has that affected how you guys kind of went about attacking this year's game?
We've had to meet with our teams a lot and strategize a lot this year. In terms of, sometimes we'll have to have a bot as a defense and have a bot as a feeder to feed a bot that can score really well. It's a lot of aspects instead of just using your bot for what you want it to be. So like, for example, our bot has an arm and it has a really good intake. Sometimes we use just the intake because there are other bots that have better arms. And so to score more points, right? So the strategic aspect comes in with where you want to score more points and how to do that.
Yeah, past games it's been shooting balls, and that's all you got to do is shoot a ball, and whoever's got the better shooter, you know, is going to be the one scoring points. But this year it's all about the arms, and if you got a good arm, then you're going to be, you know, using the arm, and if you got a good intake, you're going to be shooting lower, you're going to be feeding, you're going to be doing whatever with that, whatever you got. Like, we have a really good intake. Like you said, we have a really good intake, and we like to use that to help our teammates out and feed them pieces. And it's just easier for us to do that rather than use our arm, because there's obviously better arms out there that could be scoring more points for us if we're giving them the opportunity to. And in the end, it just gets us, you know, that more points that we're looking for. So.
Well, and with that being said, too, you know, a lot of this relies on the cooperation side of things. And, you know, for an event like this, obviously it's regional, so you have a lot of different teams from a lot of different locations. Does that help you guys network a little bit, be able to talk to some of these different teams and build some of those relationships as the season begins here?
I think it's good to have good communication with your teammates, and then for years to come, those teams know that you're a good communicator if you can communicate well I think is really helpful for them as well.
Yeah, it's great. We see a lot of teams from last year. I've seen tons of teams like the Gators and CIS. I recognize them from last year, and then you see a whole bunch of new teams, and you meet all those new teams, and you know if they come to this competition next year, you're gonna know them for next year, and it's always nice to have that, you know, professional relationship with them, and that way you can, you know, be a better team when you do get paired up as an alliance, and that's always just a great thing to have. So.
And then the other side of this too, obviously, a big event like this as well, you know, big stage as well. But, you know, for you guys, it always feels like there's a different energy coming in to an event like this as well. What's some of your favorite aspects of a regional event like this here today?
Meeting new people and just generally having fun with what you're doing. It's a competitive game, but as long as you have fun with it, it doesn't matter necessarily all that much as long as you're having fun with what you're doing.
Yeah, I love the initial aspect of coming in and seeing what everyone else has done, you know, seeing what you did right and what you did wrong, seeing what everyone else did better or worse, and it's just great because you get to actually see, you know, are you actually doing it right, you know, like, are you doing it the most efficient way, and then you also get to, you know, meet all those people and see, you know, what was their thought process behind what they did. Like, I know we came with our robot this year thinking, you know, we probably were going to have the most unique design, and we were quite right on that one because nobody else here has got an intake, and it's really cool to see, you know, people with different things like that. So.
All right, guys. Well, hey, thank you for the time. I really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
We'll be right back after this. Joining me now, we have the Red River Rage 70-48, and you know, for both of you guys, what have you really seen from the game, from the new game this year, especially first regional event? What are the big takeaways from both of you?
A lot of the teams that succeeded last year consistently were succeeding in games before aren't this year as much because it's more strategy based versus mechanical, how good of a limelight you can make. This year it's actual driving practice.
This year the thing I've seen is how drastically different the robot designs are and how creative I've seen. I love the new designs for the new competitions.
And I was going to say, too, you know, with so many different teams, obviously it's a regional event, so many different opportunities to go ahead and have different creative aspects implemented. You know, for you guys, what have been some of those designs that you've seen from other teams that you think could be interesting and maybe, you know, implement into your own design there as well?
So we actually are going to take off our manipulator entirely when we get back. That's just the front end of our robot. And we are changing it out for a passive all-intake manipulator. So that way, it's if you've been seeing the game at all, it's like the 3 layers of mechanism wheels, and it'll get sucked in. Right now, we kind of just have like one that goes like this, and it's not doing what we need to do. So.
Yeah, what she said.
Okay, and you know, for you guys as well, with this being a regional event, so many different teams that you might not necessarily be used to seeing as well. Do you guys take advantage to go ahead and use that for networking opportunities for you guys?
Yeah, 100%.
And you know, the other side of it as well is that, you know, I feel like last year it was very straightforward with how you go about scoring, how you go ahead and utilize that. This year, like you mentioned, more strategy involved. And, you know, so many different ways to score. Have you guys tried to have a balanced approach, or have you guys tried to specialize in any one aspect?
We've had a balanced approach, but like this year's game, I like it because you actually have to be a team player. Last year, you could just carry your team if you had a good enough robot. This year, you have to work together.
And then the other side of it, too, for you guys, obviously, first regional event of the year, it feels like there's electricity in here, obviously, such a different environment. You know, what are some of your favorite aspects of these types of environments, especially in these types of events?
I especially like the, how do I explain it?
The environment.
The environment itself, with like all the people packed in here, like other teams talking to each other and interacting, and talking about their robot designs to other, like all the teams interacting with each other.
All right, thank you so much for the time. Appreciate it. Well, Juliet, let me get yours as well. What are some of your favorite aspects of this as well?
I really like how I can nerd out about robots with somebody who can keep up with me, but also I'm the only girl on my team, so I actually get to see other women in FRC, so it's really nice. It's refreshing.
And that's always what we love to see here as well. And so both of you guys, thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it. Best of luck out there.
Yeah, you too.
The PRB Boosters are happy to sponsor coverage of the Tigers. Like them on Facebook for events and fundraisers. The PRB Boosters could use your help. Be part of great events and fundraisers, all built to give back and present more opportunities for the students of Pine River Backus schools. For information or to get started, email prboosterclub1.com. Meetings are the first Monday of every month at 6 p.m. at the school. Good luck, Tigers, from the PRB Boosters. Restock on food, fuel, and baits at locally owned Station 371 on Highway 371 in Pine River. Station 371 has bait and tackle, quality Cenex gasoline, off-road diesel, and is the only stop with #1 diesel. Make sure to stop by to wash off the sand and salt with their indoor car wash, open when the temp is at least 26 degrees. They'll hook you up with your fishing and hunting licenses too. Station 371 on Highway 371 in Pine River. Thank you for supporting local business.
Welcome back to the Your Live Event Robotics Show, powered by Enbridge. I am here with Team 4226. Real quick, I'll let you guys kind of introduce yourselves.
My name's Michaela. I'm the media manager.
I'm Cameron, and I'm the driver.
Oh, okay, perfect. So it's day one, but second day with the practice rounds and everything else like that. How different is this environment from the practice round, which was yesterday?
It's a lot more electric. There's definitely more pressure in everything you do.
The seriousness goes up, but I mean, the amount of fun that we have is still the same, and if not more, actually. And everyone's just a great player, and everyone is trying to be competitive. So,
now, I got to say this: you got some of the coolest hats I've seen. I love the bucket hats. So awesome job with that. So with that being said, how much of it really is, once you come here, it's the spirit, it's the team camaraderie, all that fun stuff. What else do you guys do besides just the bucket hats and the T-shirts? Anything outside that you guys kind of do as a team?
Well, we hang out with each other for a couple months building this robot every single day after school and on the weekends. Saturdays we have team meals together for lunch in between building. We also do stuff out in our community, like our community expo, and let little kids drive our robot.
We also reach out to the high school, and we do a bunch of stuff with that, and we just try and gather our members and make sure everyone knows what they're doing and make sure everyone's having a good time.
Great. I got to ask, whose idea was the bucket hat?
It was kind of a group decision because we saw some last year. I was the one who kind of pulled it off, got the patches ordered, sewed them and ironed them on 2 days before our first competition, but yeah.
Very cool. So you've had a few matches. How is it out there? In your opinion, how is this year's game?
Oh, it's difficult for sure, but it's definitely probably one of the most fun I've been in, just because of the accuracy part of it, and how you can score and how many teams can score. You don't have to have this complex arm to be a good player. You can score low, you can score anywhere basically, and just makes you makes so many more teams relevant in the actual competition. It makes it that much more fun.
Okay. Now, from last year's a shooting game, this one more of a placing game. How different is your bot from last year to this year?
Completely different. Usually you have the flywheels with the shooter and all that, but now we have this arm. It's going to a set point instead of just running wide open like a flywheel would, and it's a completely different programming aspect, completely different building aspect, and
Awesome. Now, with media and everything else, I mean, you're over in the media section and everything else like that. Anything that you've seen out there that's been interesting?
My favorite thing to take pictures of is the balancing on the cart, but also them picking up from the different stations and off the ground. There's so many different ways that people are bringing those pieces in, and I like seeing the creativity through that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much. Again, awesome hats. Thank you for joining us. We'll be right back.
And joining me now, we have 7235 joining me here. And, guys, what have you seen so far today out there on the course, of course? Obviously, new game here in the first regional. So what have you guys seen here so far today?
Never mind. Here we go. We've been playing really well. We got an autonomous to work in there, and Diane's been helping us get cubes and cones. We put cones on the grid for the first time this match. We're very pleased with how our robot's running.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say.
No? Okay.
Well, you know, one thing too, especially with events like this, you know, there's so many different teams that you get a chance to interact with and network with. And, you know, when it comes to this type of event, obviously, you know, you have a massive scale. What are some of your favorite parts of the events like these, especially?
I guess just strategizing with the other teams, just trying to make how you run it work with other teams, I guess.
That game plan is huge. That we've been able to decide what works best for everybody, and we've had a couple winning matches, which is great.
And, you know, with that being said, too, you know, this year, it feels like there's so many different ways that you can attack it strategically. You know, are you guys trying to play it more balanced, or is there, like, more of a specialty when it comes to your guys that you guys are trying to focus on?
I don't know.
We've been really trying to score with the cycles. We can get over to the human player and grab our piece and bring it back over and put it on the grid pretty consistently. And with us adding the autonomous in, and now we've tried to balance on the end game. We feel that we're making ourselves more an asset to the alliances.
And I got to ask, whose idea was it for the lab coat? Because I love the lab coat. It looks fantastic.
I think...
Kira is new to the team. She doesn't know the history of the lab coats, but I can share that with you. Our motto for Red Lake Ogeechee Dog 7235 is traditional values, 21st century skills. And the lab coats represent the technology and STEM fields that represent the 21st century. And then we've added the traditional value of the ribbon. We've taken the ribbon skirt or ribbon shirt idea and added the ribbons to our lab coats to kind of bring them both together to show that we can live in both worlds. So
that's fantastic. And, you know, Kira, with you being new to robotics especially, what drew you into it, and how have you enjoyed a regional event like this?
I guess what kind of drew me in was just building the robot. That was really fun. And I'm really enjoying the event so far. This is my first competition. It's been fun practicing and having to fix our small mistakes on the robot.
All right. Well, hey, thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thanks, back.
Sure thing. Talk to you after this.
Welcome back to the Your Live Event Robotics Show. I am here with Team 3216, and my goodness, I don't think I've seen a team more jazzed than I have seen with you guys. So I'm just going to kind of get out of the way with this one. And what about this past match really have you jazzed up this much?
Yeah. So. So we were having a lot of issues with our robot that were really frustrating. We had some intake issues, we had some arm issues, a lot of code issues, and that match was like the accumulation, all of it worked together. It all worked perfectly. It was pretty flawless. Our first really good match. Woo! We're hyped.
He said it all.
Yeah, that was...
I gotta truly appreciate the Ric Flair woo in there as well. So good on you, good on you. So, so what are you? I mean, your first really good, perfect run you got there. What are you looking to kind of carry on into that next match that you guys are coming up to?
Yeah, so we're looking to carry on that reliability that we were able to show off last match and that scoring capability. Our robot mechanically is really quick and really good at scoring. We've just been having a lot of code-related issues, and if we can just keep that running, keep that intake and that arm working perfectly, I mean, we'll be pretty set.
We're also looking to implement more autonomous routines by tomorrow. That's definitely been a big setback for our team so far, but I think we'll have it.
Yeah, we're just trying to dial that stuff in and carry it through. We drove 16 hours to be here from Missoula, Montana, so it's nice to finally see all that effort pay off with a match like that.
16 hours, my goodness, that's dedication. I will definitely say that. So good on you for that. Now, with yesterday being more of a practice setup, has anything changed from the practice day to straight up game time?
Yeah, so we made a couple upgrades here and there to our robot, made some stronger, made our arm stronger. We've had a lot of code changes. When we got here, we were working in the hotel the night before. We had it set up in the lobby. We went to like midnight just trying to get our robot ready to roll. And yesterday we spent a lot of the time getting position set up for all of our scoring and our intake for our big arm. And that's the main thing that's changed, is we got the code implemented to actually be able to play the game, pick up pieces, and score them.
Yeah, we didn't have our bumpers mounted until that night at the hotel.
Yeah, the last of our 4 pieces of bumpers were mounted yesterday morning right before our first match. So we've had basically yesterday and today just to dial in and test a lot of the stuff that we hadn't before we got here. So
okay, I got to ask, what were the looks that you guys were getting in the hotel lobby of just other folks coming in and out?
Well, we had one coach from another team who's staying at our same hotel tell us we're cheating by working in the hotel. He seriously told us that we were cheating. The hotel hosts were a little confused, but they were pretty on board with it. They thought it was pretty cool to just see us, the dedication. They're working on the hotel, in the hotel, working on the robot. They didn't comment too much on it. They just kind of asked some questions. Oh, what's going on here? This looks awesome. They were honestly pretty excited to see it, I think. A couple noise complaints, but other than that.
Yeah, we got kicked out of our room into the lobby.
yeah, we worked for most of the day in their room, but then too loud, so we were in the lobby. We got a lot of double takes. Our robot's pretty distinctive looking. It's a single arm. It's really long. It doesn't have 2 sides to it, so it really catches people's eyes when they see it, and it's tall when it's up. So yeah, a lot of double takes.
We call it the fiddler because it looks like a fiddler crab with the one big old claw. It's pretty awesome.
That is so awesome. Now, it's a treat. Typically, I don't get like coach or something like that here. So, as of right now, how do you think the team's doing?
I mean, I think we're doing great. It's nice seeing how hard they've worked, both before the event, but just since we've been here, and how we've got better just about every match. A few setbacks, but yeah, that improvement, constant improvement is great.
Any late night tinkering in the lobby tonight, or are we pretty happy with what's going on with the bot?
I think we're pretty happy tonight.
I need a nap.
Just a couple minutes ago, they were asking me about adding the LEDs to the robot, so.
Well, hopefully you get your nap, my man. Thank you so much for joining us. That was awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My name is Jared, born and raised in Minnesota, and I'm a project director at Enbridge. Enbridge is more than a pipeline company. It's a company participating in renewable energy projects in Minnesota and abroad, and I'm really proud to be working here.
We believe a cleaner energy future is achievable. For over 20 years, we've been early adopters of renewable energy, and we're proudly committed to net zero emissions by 2050. To hear more from Jared, visit enbridge.com/Jared. That's JERRID.
That's going to do it for our coverage of the first robotics competition here at the 2023 Great Northern Regionals going on here in Grand Forks, North Dakota. I'm Mac Robinson. Thank you to all of you for tuning in. We want to say thank you to Enbridge for powering our coverage as always, and also want to say thank you to First for having us out here on day 2. Still to come, day 3 coming at you tomorrow right here on yourliveevent.com. Stay tuned.